Hello everyone, this is Helena from Helena Artbook. I am an oil and graphite surreal and fantasy artist. As you can see, there's a painting I'm currently working on behind me, so she is going to be peeking at you with me throughout this video. Also, to let you know that this is my first time having my face on the camera and it does feel really strange, so please do bear with me before I get used to it. I have been selling my original pieces for over a year now, and I know that might not be a significant time of experience for some. However, I have been quite successful with my selling, so please do stick around if you're interested to hear any of my tips. Another thing I would like to get out of the way is that those tips I'm going to share with you worked for me, so that doesn't mean that it's going to work for you as well. So please do your own research, experiment on your own and try things for yourself. So the first question you should be probably asking yourself is, am I ready to sell my art? And the first thing and the most important thing I'm going to tell you is, if you never try, you will never know if people are willing to buy it. And I mean that your art doesn't have to be this amazingly polished, perfect, academical piece for you to sell it. I know that us artists can be really self-judgmental about ourselves and about our own abilities. If that's you, if you are too judgmental about your own art and if you think it's not good enough to sell, maybe you're wrong. And again, that all goes down to, if you won't try, you will never know. So as for me, I started to sell my own original pieces as soon as I took up oil painting. I really fell in love with the medium and I created really lovely pieces at the beginning. Mind you, they were not perfect whatsoever. I was still experimenting, and of course they were my first oil paintings. However, I thought that maybe I will find people who love them, and I did eventually. I have really amazing reviews on Etsy from my first customers. So again, I strongly encourage you, if you're very passionate about your art and if you have quite a few pieces in your pocket, then you might try to sell it. You never know. So, when I opened my first Etsy shop in my case, I had quite a few things in place, and that is your art a finished product? And I want you to forget that you are an artist for a moment here and think about yourself as a business person. Think about your art pieces, paintings as products. Do not think that they are paintings, do not think that they are drawings. That is important, of course, but they are products for you to sell. So, as every product that is in every store, for people to buy it, it has to look finished, of course. I have this painting that I'm currently selling on Etsy. So it's called, how is it called? I forgot how is it called. Oh my god. Yes, it's called The Place Where I Come From, and it's about this divine and dreamy atmosphere. It doesn't matter. So you need to know that this is my product, right? And it needs to look finished. It's varnished, it is signed, all the edges look finished as well, painted. It is quite a solid piece of art, a solid piece of product for you to sell. If you are a customer and you would walk into a shop, you wouldn't really buy something that has, for example, torn edges or is scratched, unless you are looking for something in a yard sale or I don't know where. Put yourselves in a customer's shoes and ask yourselves, would I buy it? Would I buy my paintings? Would I buy my drawings? Does it look finished? Does it look good? It doesn't have to be perfect, but it does have to look like a finished product. Yeah. Okay, so now the question is, where to start selling your art? And as for me, I have started on Etsy, and I know that at the beginning the question where to put my art for sale can be a bit daunting. So I know that myself, I was researching option after option. I was thinking, whether should I sell on Etsy, should I open my own website? And there are disadvantages and advantages on everything. I know that I found little disadvantage on one place, and that would completely throw me off, and I would decide I'm not going to sell there. And I would be doing this for 2 months and realizing I have not opened my shop yet. I'm just thinking and I'm losing, experience. Please just choose one thing that speaks to you the most and just do it. If it won't work, then you can always change. It's just, your first year of selling should be about experimentation. It should be about learning. So please just choose one thing and stick to it. Otherwise you will be thinking forever and it will throw you off. Etsy is an online marketplace, so there are quite a few online marketplaces out there that you can put your art into. And I know that if you are a beginner artist, if you don't have much of a following, then online marketplaces would be the best option for you because they have their own customer base. So your goal is to find your art collectors and they will be in those online marketplaces. So I found my first ever art collectors for my own original pieces on Etsy. Actually, I didn't find them, they found me, so it was even easier for me. Of course, you have to work on your CEO, tags, on your product description, which is very important as well. You need to make sure that you will tell the customer everything that they need to know about the art piece. Make sure you tell them whether it's framed, unframed, whether it's varnished, what kind of material is it, how deep are those edges, if they can hang it, if it stands. Because you don't want customer after they receive the piece of art telling you, oh, but you didn't tell me this, that you didn't tell me that it has that. You would like to avoid that, so make sure that you have very good product description, and that can also serve as a CEO. That's how customers will be able to find you. So the more information you provide, the better will the collector find you, of course. And another thing to consider is pricing. And pricing is a topic for another video completely. But again, the first thing I'm going to tell you is when you're first starting selling, maybe you should not be thinking about profit and to sell in order to gain art collectors. So for you, the most important thing is to gain art collectors, right? To gain customers, to gain following. And I think that at the beginning, it might not be the smartest choice to think about profit or to think about making a lot of money. So for example, when I first started to sell my oil paintings, they would be priced anywhere from like 100 to 150 pounds. Which is not quite a lot of money for oil paintings, but I found my collectors, that bought my first oil paintings, and then over time I was able to build myself up, and now I'm actually able to make a profit out of my art. You also need to consider your skill set, how established are you, and if you're just starting out and nobody knows about you. So if you are a beginner, maybe you should consider even selling for a little bit lower price. Again, I am not telling you to underestimate your abilities, don't sell your paintings or drawing for cheap. However, it's going to be maybe more beneficial for you to do so, to gain new customers. So think about your first year of selling like an experiment. Just, build yourself up. You can always increase your pricing. You can always change things up, change things around. If people won't buy it, maybe it's too expensive. If people buy too much, then maybe increase your prices. If you have a lot of customers, collectors, increase your prices. And it's just learning. It's just experimentation. The first year, don't look at it as like, oh, I'm gonna make a lot of money out of my art. No, just try to build relationships with customers as well, with collectors. I always follow my collectors on Instagram if they have it, if they follow me, because I really like to see what they're doing, and it's really fun for me to see what kind of people are my collectors. They are very interesting people actually, so I'm sure you will make a lot of money in the future, but just don't think about money at the beginning too much, yeah? Find artists in your own niche and maybe around your own skill set and around your own establishment as well, and see how much they are selling their art for and take inspiration from that as well. Okay, so another place I am selling my art is on Instagram. And I have actually sold only one painting throughout like a DM where the customer would literally message me and then I would sell the desired art to them. So that happened only once. Other than that, on Instagram it is very beneficial to look for communities. So I am in the fantasy and surreal niche, and there are groups who are holding auctions every 3 months or so. So they have like a topic, for example mermaids, and everybody is painting mermaids for that auction, and then they actually show it either on their Facebook pages or on Instagram pages, and people bid on it, and they have their own collector bases as well. So it is really beneficial to get into those. I know that I am a member of a group called Surreal and Harmony Art. I've sold like 2 paintings in their auctions, and I know that I've gained a lot of new collectors just from that group alone. So it was very good, and it is very good experience for me. I will link some of the groups in the fantasy and surreal niche down below, so you can have a look what I'm talking about if you haven't heard about this yet. But look around and see if there are any groups in your niche. So for example, if you're a portrait artist, then you can look around if there are any groups that are doing portraiture auctions. So I'm sure there are a lot of groups around like that. Just do your own research. Anyways, on Instagram it is very beneficial to get into communities and to network than just shoving your art out there. You never know, if you support each other with other artists, those artists can have collectors as well, and they might share your art sometimes, and you might gain new collectors throughout them as well. So just focus on networking and building communities on Instagram. That is the best advice I can give you about this. Another thing I am gaining experience with lately are galleries, and I am doing mainly online galleries now. I've actually done like 2 online shows so far, and I have sold 1 painting out of it, which is very good, I think. So so galleries are actually very good on gaining new art collectors and new customers. They have their own customer base as well. So again, find galleries that you like in your niche and get interested in them. Follow them on Instagram, look throughout their website if they are accepting new submissions. Just be nice, be friendly. Don't be over friendly though. Don't force yourself too much on them. Like, don't email them every week and saying, oh my gosh, I'm an amazing artist, you should feature me. No. Maybe send like every half a year or every few months, send them a submission that you exist, and you love their work. You might be somebody who is standing in line for consideration, because those galleries have usually a long list of artists submitting to them, so it might be a bit difficult for you to get into. But again, if they know about you, if they know that you exist, then you have much higher chance getting into the gallery. Again, don't email out all the galleries. Think about it as a job interview. They also don't tell you don't interview for every single job. Just pick out the jobs that you actually like and are interested in. And the same thing should be with galleries. Just treat them as a job application, as like a dream job application even. Another thing is to sell your art locally, and I mean cafes, I mean art stores, restaurants and other communities. Just ask your favorite coffee shops, ask your favorite restaurants, local communities that you go into. If you're out, just keep your eye out and see if any cafes have any artwork hanged on their walls, and just ask them that you are an artist, and if they are accepting new artists, for example. Ask your favorite restaurants. Recently I have had my art exhibited in an art store near my workplace, so that was also a very good experience. So you might want to look around and see if any art stores have any artist submission openings as well. And that is it for my experience. I know that there are a lot of other places where you can sell your art. For example, one are art fairs, and I am so ashamed that I've never done an art fair before, because I live in London and here are so many options. However, I'm going to really try to go out there and have my art for sale in an art fair, be in an art fair, and just talk to people face to face. I think that would be really a good experience for me and for you too, so you might want to look into that as well. And then you can also have your own website, and I know this is better for artists who are much more established and they have their own customer base. So again, for me, maybe when I gain a larger following for my art, I will open my own store in my own website. And again, this is, I think, the best, because you don't have to pay any fees. All of the money that you make goes to you. However, I think that if you're just a beginner, it would be beneficial for you to find an online marketplace with their own customer base. Right, and another thing I wanted to tell you before we wrap this up is just be patient. Be patient. And I know that I waited for my first sale in like 3 to 4 months, and I was like, oh my gosh, like nobody is buying it, I will never sell a piece of art. And then all of a sudden there was a sale, yeah, and I was happy, and then that made me really motivated. And I know for you it can be even longer waits. You can sell your first piece of art after half a year, you know, even after a year or after a month or the first day. But just be very patient, experiment, put your art there as much as you can. You just have to show your art, you know, you just have to put your art available for people to see it, and I'm sure you will find your collectors. I'm sure of that. There might be a lot of things to consider when you first start selling, and that is product description, pricing, and all these things, you know, all these business aspects of it, which is pretty much very important part of it. But again, just take it one step at a time. Like first day, figure out the pricing, second day, figure out the product description, and just do it very slowly, you know. Before I started, I felt really overwhelmed. I was like, oh my god, how am I gonna do this? I don't know anything about business. But it is not rocket science, as I thought before, because I didn't have any experience before with business whatsoever. And another thing I would like to remind you is really just, if you're starting out, just treat your first year, even 2 years, just sell for experience. Think about you are learning something new, do it for experimentation as well. Okay, so this is the end of the video. I genuinely hope you found something in here helpful, and if you would like to know more about my art, please do follow me on Instagram. I put my newest art updates there. I also have my store and my website linked down below, so you can have a peek if you're interested. Anyways, I will be posting more videos here on YouTube as well, so please do subscribe if you're interested, of course. Thank you so much, guys. Bye!